Welcome back to my channel where we're all about leveling up, elevating, and living our absolute best, most authentic lives. So today's video is a few tips, 6 to be exact, on how to elevate your fall/winter look. So let's get straight into this video. So the first tip that I would recommend, and I definitely would say, is to have a more monochromatic, oh my god, I can't speak today. I had to break that down because I was gonna butcher it. So monochromatic look. So basically, one color palette throughout your entire outfit. So if you're gonna go for camels, go for camel. If you're gonna go for white, go for white. If you're gonna go for gray, go for gray. If you're gonna go for black, go for black. What I will recommend is definitely lighter colors, more colors that will just look more feminine and sweet, while especially in the winter and fall months where it's kind of grungy and everything's just very you want to look like that pop of color. So, and I would definitely recommend beiges and whites. That's just like my favorite thing. Yes, it is a little bit harder to take care of, but that's what you have cleaning for and dry cleaning and whatever it may be. Which leads me to my number 2 tip, which is get quality long coats. I feel like there's something that just this element of class, element of that you tried. That statement piece definitely has to be a long wool coat. So my trick is I love going to thrift stores in affluent neighborhoods. So I live in a kind of, I guess, an affluent neighborhood. So I go to the thrift store there and I go straight to the men's department and I look for those oversized, gorgeous coats. They remind me a lot of the 90s, but how you play it off is very key. So I usually wear mine like off the shoulder, very long coat, beautiful colors. I always get camel, beiges, white creams. I do have 2 black colors because you just need a black coat. So I just feel like they're a lot better than shorter coats. You can get a short wool coat, but there's just you're gonna blend in with everything and everybody. If you wanna look really like you've tried when you probably haven't, and who knows what's underneath, get yourself a long coat. Long coats do everything to elevate your look. And make sure they're quality. So the thrift store, what I absolutely love is that every time I go, I find a 100% wool. Sometimes it's like lamb wool, they're even super specific. Why I say an affluent neighborhood is because it's usually older people trying to get rid of their clothing, and I don't think they understand the value of their clothing. There were times a long time ago when clothing was just quality, not quantity, and now we're in a time where it's all about quantity and not so much quality. So it's more expensive to find quality clothes, whereas previously that was the norm. So a wool coat now I feel like is way more than a wool coat back then. It was still an investment piece back then, but it certainly was not the price point that it is now. The next thing I have to say, which ties into 1 and 2, is number 3, layer, 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 and texture. So I'd say pops of textures make such a difference. Somewhere where you might wear head to toe the same thing, try and play around with nice textures. Like this sweater, for example, I absolutely love. I want to say it's wool, but anyways, it's a pretty texture, and I would pair this with a satin skirt and then just that beautiful wool coat over. Oh my god, you can elevate your look and just look like you've really tried when all you did was put on 3 pieces of clothing, some shoes, and walked out of the house. You know what I mean? Make sure it makes sense. You want to make sure that your pieces are all cohesive and seamless together, but that bring it to the next level. So instead of just wearing a polyester kind of t-shirty fabric but looks like this, you now are pairing it with this type of fabric where it's more like a cottony, but it's like ridged fabric, and then you pop that with a satin skirt instead of just having head to toe cotton. You just look elevated. You look like you've put in effort, like your pieces are of quality. So it makes a huge difference. So the 4th thing that I want to mention is to mix fabrics, like I just said. So mixing things like satin, lace, things that you would wear more typically in the summer, you could still wear in the winter. You just want to be able to, like I said earlier, layer it so that you're still warm, you're still cute, you're still bundled. And to be honest, you're not spending a lot of time outside in the winter. You're gonna go inside. So once you take off that wool coat, you still look super cute and you don't look like, oh my God, my bones are gonna fall off the whole event or whatever it may be that you are attending. The fifth tip that I wanna mention is to play with your accessories. So personally, all of the pieces that I always wear, no matter what time of the year it is, are always gold. I like gold hardware, gold jewelry. It just pops on dark skin, so that's what I personally like. If you're a lighter skin tone, or if you are a complete opposite skin tone from myself, perhaps silver or rose gold would work better for you, or sorry, white gold. Whereas for me, I like rose gold, I like gold. I'm not a silver person, and if I do, it has more gold than it does silver in it. If I'm gonna do mixed metals and all that fun stuff. So I say this because if you go for the whole monochromatic look, for example, when you have statement jewelry, cute jewelry, it does make a huge difference. I have more fun in this particular tip than most people. A lot of people who like more elegant and really put together looks usually like simple jewelry. I'm not a simple jewelry person. I'm African, honey. I like to shine like the queen that I know that I am. So personally, I like big jewelry. I like costume, like statement pieces. Like, I just like to play around with that, especially for me. If I'm gonna do a monochromatic look, I'm gonna be quite honest with you, it can get boring wearing that all the time, like the same color all the time. So why not pop, not even pop, why not drip, why not look good with your accessories? However, if you are more of like a simple jewelry type of person, you like a more understated look, which a lot of people do because that is usually associated with elegance, whereas for me, I like to have fun. You have one life to live. If you do like more like small pieces, make sure they all match. If you're gonna do mixed metals, be very careful, but just make sure your pieces all make sense, especially please match them with your hardware. If your boots have silver zipper, make sure your bag hardware is silver then, make sure the notches on your shirt are silver, like make sure everything, make it make sense, honey. That's all I'm saying, make it make sense. So the sixth tip I'm gonna say definitely has to be, don't shy away from skirts and dresses. I like to be feminine, I like to wear skirts and dresses. I prefer to let my lady bits free and like to wear skirts, I like to wear dresses, and I don't think that has to stop in the winter time. So I feel like my best friend, literally my best friend in the winter, are tights. I have opaque tights, I have more sheer tights, and I make sure to stack up on them so that I have as much as possible, and that allows me to play around with more looks. So I don't have to just confine myself to a specific look of being like bundled up completely in pants for so many months straight. Winter in North America, especially in Canada, is not short. The majority of your time is fall to spring, which literally is about 8 to 9 months. Last year, I calculated it because that was my year of deciding I wanted to move. I double checked, I made sure, I journaled. It was mid-June when it started to get really warm. Mid-June to mid-September, that's June, July, August, that's 3 months of summer. The majority of your time is spent in the cold. Friggin' freezing. So that shouldn't limit your outfits at all. So just remember that you can play around still with skirts and dresses. Just make sure you have some tights to keep warm. Definitely don't be exposing flesh when you don't need to be. And my bonus tip, my very last tip would be, please find a dry cleaner that's sensible, that makes sense by you. Dry clean your pieces. Because it's winter, it gets gross out and slush and such. Make sure you're dry cleaning your pieces, and make sure you also steam and iron everything. That is a huge must. My parents used to be so anal about this, it was insane. They'd make us like iron military style. I think to the point that like my sisters were just like so over it. Well, my other sister, my younger ones, I don't even know if they've seen an iron before. Who knows? But I will say that I'm very big on that. I don't like creases. It doesn't look classy. It doesn't look cute. It just doesn't make sense. Please steam, iron, make sure you have your articles of clothing looking in impeccable condition, because that adds to elevating your look. You don't look elevated if you look sloppy, so remember that. That pretty much sums up the 6 things that I would definitely recommend to elevate your fall winter look. If there's anything that I forgot, because I know there's a whole spew of things that I didn't add, but these were like my main ones that if you're anybody, especially someone who finds it difficult to coordinate your closet, to coordinate your look, to make yourself look good on a regular basis, just remember those ones. Some of them are a little bit harder, some of them definitely take a little bit more work, but please remember those ones and you will always look your absolute best. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to level up, elevate, and live your absolute best life. I will check you guys in my next video, and while we're waiting, please consider watching my other ones. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, loves.